guys, how's it going? I hope you're having a very good day. So for today's book review, I'm here to talk about Allegiant by Veronica Roth. This is her last book in the Divergent trilogy. Let's get started with what this book is all about. So this is the last book, and so finally answers are revealed. We get to find out why these factions were formed. Finally. Some of our main characters head outside of the city and see what's going on out there. Mayhem, chaos ensue, plans go awry as well. And these characters just have to deal. They have to deal with the craziness. So that's a quick synopsis of what Allegiant is all about. Next, guys, let's talk about the characters. Definitely one of my favorite aspects of the story and this series. In Allegiant, the perspective switches between Triss's character and Tobias's character. For Tobias's chapters, I really enjoyed reading from his perspective. We get to find more about his backstory and his complex relationships he has with his parents, which is pretty intense. What I really enjoyed about Tobias's character was that I was easily able to empathize with him. I thought he was portrayed very realistically. I thought how he reacted to the situations, how he felt, what he thought was very appropriate to what was going on around him, and he was dealing with a lot of things, so I thought he was on point. As far as the other characters are concerned, returning characters, one character that definitely stood out to me the most was Peter's character. He's a very dark and complex character, I found, and I thought how his character arc concluded was very well done. I thought it was very interesting how that all concluded, so I thought that was really good. As far as new characters within Allegiant, I wasn't particularly attached to any of them. Two characters though that did stand out to me from the rest was Matthew, who the characters meet outside of the city, as well as Kara, who is Will's sister. The only issue I had was with Triss's character, in particular her relationship with Caleb. Yes, it was confusing and complicated, but on Triss's part, because we get to read from her perspective, I felt her actions were contradictory to how she felt and what she thought. And I do not blame Triss for feeling the way she does. In the last book, Caleb does a very, very bad thing, and in that instance, I can understand her animosity towards her brother. I do. What I don't understand though is Triss's resentment towards Caleb when he left for Eurydice. I mean, they grow up in a society where it's faction before blood. You would think by now it's been normalized that family members would leave their initial factions for another faction. So I didn't really understand that. I thought she would be more understanding, but in Allegiant we can definitely see Triss's anger and resentment towards Caleb. It definitely felt for me it outweighed her conflicted feelings to reconciliate with him, but yeah, more on that in the spoilers. For the most part, I really enjoyed reading about the characters. Like I said, they were the most compelling aspect of the story. Their actions, how they felt, what they thought was very realistic, and I was easily able to empathize with them, so I thought that was very good. Next, guys, I want to talk to you about the plot of Allegiant, more specifically the world building. So finally, in this last book, we get some answers to why these factions were formed. Did we get answers? We totally do. Was I satisfied by them? I was not, unfortunately. I felt the world building was convoluted, it was complicated. The more that was revealed, the more questions I had, and it's like, what is going, how? Why? I felt the reveal in Allegiant disconnected itself from the other two books. I wish there was more continuity between all three books. So when it comes to the bigger picture, I just didn't buy it. But when it comes to the personal conflict, the internal struggle between these characters, it was the most interesting part for me. I was engaged, I was compelled by these characters. As far as the pacing is concerned, it was spot on. I really liked it. I thought all the major plot points within the book happened in a very timely manner. I felt the climax at the end happened at just the right moment, so I didn't feel the ending was rushed at all. There was enough time to wrap up all the loose endings, so I thought that was great. So with that being said, guys, I'm going to give Allegiant by Veronica Roth 3.5 out of 5 stars. Surprisingly, I really enjoyed the read. The rating kind of inclined toward the end, which kind of sounds weird for those who read the book, but I really liked the ending and how everything concluded for the characters. I was surprisingly touched by all the sentimentality. I thought the messages addressed as well within the book were very identifiable and very moving. But yeah, that is my non-spoiler book review of Allegiant. Next, guys, I'm going to get into the spoilers. So if you want to skip the spoilers, click on the annotation down below. There you'll skip to the end of the video where I have something new for you guys. There I'll be talking about 3 books I have in mind that I want to review, and I need your help in picking which book I should read. So next, guys, let's talk about the spoilers, the crazy spoilers. Hopefully those who don't want to be spoiled is gone, because we're gonna talk about the biggest one first. So let's talk about Triss's death. Triss dies. Oh my gosh. I was genuinely surprised about Triss dying. I was. At the end of Triss's last chapter, I was thinking plot twist, because I was thinking, okay, we'll see where this goes. And it wasn't, of course, until Tobias returned to the bureau and Triss's death is confirmed. It's like, oh my gosh, Veronica Roth killed off her main characters. Like, what? Mind you, this isn't my first rodeo to a main character's death. All too familiar with it. But when it comes to this genre, young adult dystopia, which is the shiz right now, to kill off your main character, it's like shock and awe. Shock and awe. So that was pretty crazy. And no, I did not cry because I am a robot. It is yet to be confirmed, and especially how the characters reacted to Triss's death. Like I said, it was very realistic and totally understandable, especially for Tobias's character. Oh my goodness, when he wanted to take that memory serum. And I'm so glad he didn't take the memory serum. I'm so glad Christina stopped him from doing it, because if he did, I would have been done with the series, because it would have been the worst decision ever. Yeah. The only thing though, and I feel really for feeling this way, I didn't feel Triss sacrificed herself out of her love for Caleb. I know Triss will always have that familial love towards Caleb, but I don't think at that point in the story it was at a point where she would have sacrificed herself in his stead. So I'm conflicted about that. I just wasn't convinced, because it wasn't until Caleb decides to volunteer to go on that suicide mission that Triss starts to have a change of heart. And I'm thinking, no, this is too late in the story. Why wasn't there like little gradual steps for her to have changes of heart? And it would have made her sacrifice, her decision to sacrifice herself, more easier to swallow. So that's just me, that's just how I feel. Next, guys, I want to talk about the world building within Divergent. We finally get to read about why these factions were formed, and we read that these factions just did not work. I didn't think they would work. Proven by a previous rebellion that had happened in the past, and the Bureau used the memory serum on the people so they would forget why they were fighting, and the government deciding to continue on with these experiments even though they totally blew up in their face. It was just no. I'm surprised no one in Yurdite kind of came to this conclusion. Also, in the schools, what are they teaching the kids? Obviously, it wasn't history or geography, because when Triss and Tobias headed outside of the city, they had no idea what the hell was going on. I'm just astounded by everyone's lack of curiosity of what's going on outside of the city. Another question I have is, if the Divergent were genetically pure, why weren't they protected within these experiments? Why were they demonized? Instead of focusing on the factions, it really was about the genetically pure versus the genetically damaged. I wish there was more focus on that in the other 2 books to connect the trilogy. So those are my spoilery thoughts on Allegiant, guys. Let me know in the comments below how you liked Allegiant or did not like Allegiant. So next, guys, I want to do something new here. I need your help to pick which book I should read and review next. I'll have 3 books in mind, and they'll all be connected by a theme, because I love the themes. For this theme, it's winter reads, because it's winter time, it's snow, at least here in the northern hemisphere. So the first book you could vote on is Let It Snow by John Green, Maureen Johnson, and Lauren Miracle. It's a young adult romance book. It is 3 separate short stories written by these individual authors. I'm not too sure if these stories overlap or if the characters overlap, but I think it would be a fun, light read. The next book I have in mind is Philip Pullman's Dark Materials trilogy. I finished The Golden Compass a while ago, and I think this would be a good time to finish the other 2 books, The Subtle Knife and The Amber Spyglass. And the last choice you can vote for is another middle grade fantasy series. I'm super excited about this one as well. It is The Chronicles of Narnia by C.S. Lewis. And yes, I would love to read all 7 books. I'll just look down below and read the titles from my notes here. Of course, the first book is The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. The second book is Prince Caspian. The third book is The Voyage of Don Treader. let me know. The fourth book is The Silver Chair. The fifth book is The Horse and His Boy. The sixth book is The Magician's Nephew. And the last book, appropriately named, is The Last Battle. So those are the 3 books I have in mind, guys. To vote, click on the link in the description box below. There you'll head over to my website where I have a poll set up so you could vote for your favorite book there. And I'm super excited to read any one of these books. So that's everything, guys. I hope you enjoyed this review. I will talk to you later and have a very good one. Bye.